Our correspondent Zeina Khodr has been following events in Tripoli as the fighting appears to have intensified. I spoke to her just a short while ago.
Well, let me tell you, we are in a very strategic location because from where we are standing, I can explain the whole military situation on the ground. If I just get out of the way, you can see where the smoke is. That is Bab al-Azaziyah. That is where Gaddafi's compound is, and it is coming under heavy mortar and grad rocket fire. And if we pan just a little bit to the left, well, we have to bear in mind that the rebels are now in control of Gaddafi's compound. If we're going to pan just a little bit to the left, that is the front line. You're going to see an area which is known as Abu Salim. And there are pockets of resistance. Gaddafi's men are holed up there. And most of them are civilians from the area. And this is what I've been told by rebels. Now we're going to pan just a little bit more to the left. And you're going to see a forest. It is sniper infested. That is the zoo, and that is where Gaddafi's men are. That is where they're launching the grad rockets, the mortar rockets from, and snipers are slowing the rebel advance. There have been heavy clashes from both sides. Now, we're going to try to zoom in to this tent, to this white tent. You're going to see a burned out building behind it that used to be where Saif al-Islam received guests. The rebels told me that they bombed it. Now the tent, we can actually see Gaddafi's men. You can see the green flag. So you can see how close really the rebels are to Gaddafi's fighters. And the fighting really has been fierce ever since we've been here over the past 2 hours. Now, if we pan further left, well, Vulcan is telling me he's zooming in right now. I'm not sure if you can actually see the Gaddafi fighters, Vida.
We can, in fact, see some men there. Yes, we can, Zeina.
And you can see probably the green flag. So this remains their stronghold. Now, while rebels have been able to take control of many areas, really, of Tripoli, they are still holed up there. Now, if we pan to the left even further, Vulcan, if we move the camera a little bit to the left, you're going to see forests. And that as well is where Gaddafi's men are hiding and snipers are. Then you're going to see that flat roof. Behind that flat roof is the Rixos Hotel, where approximately 40 international journalists are trapped. We do not know whether they can't leave because of the fighting or whether they are being prevented from leaving. Now, they have been there before the opposition actually stormed the Libyan capital late on Sunday. So they are in the middle of the battlefield, surrounded by Gaddafi's men, and you're going to see how difficult the fight will be because it's all forests. But the rebels really are trying to make an advance, and like I mentioned, heavy fighting is taking place.
And Zeina, the fact that we can still hear the sound of explosions around Bab al-Azaziyah, we saw plumes of smoke still rising from around that area, and we also hear obviously the sustained gunfire in the distance. This gives us a clear indication that Bab al-Azaziyah, which is a very large compound, is still not entirely secure, obviously, by rebel forces, and there are other spots where there are fierce clashes between the two sides.
Well, the fighting is not over, but if you talk to any rebel, what they'll tell you is that it's just a matter of days before we are in control of the Libyan capital. But they've been saying this for some time now, so it's maybe a bit too early to celebrate victory, even though that's what they were doing late last night after they stormed Gaddafi's compound. It was really a very symbolic victory for them, because most of them, when I was speaking to them as they entered the compound, they were saying that we would never have been allowed in this area. Look at the way our leaders used to live. We have been oppressed. We weren't given any opportunities, and they have been living in luxury. So for them, really, that was a symbolic victory. But like I said, the fighting is far from over. You can see smoke still billowing across the city, and Gaddafi's men are still using heavy firepower. You're talking about grad rockets, mortars, which usually land indiscriminately. We were at Bab al-Azaziyah compound this morning, and we had to evacuate. And really, the biggest danger is the snipers, which are almost everywhere. Before you proceed or drive down a certain road, you need to ask the people of the area, are there snipers down this road? So this is still a very insecure and dangerous city.